Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We've got Mr. John Ekwuyasi, who is the Director of Communications for Nigeria Intervention Movement. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Chamberlain.
So, we heard from the APC and the PDP go at each other, but they do agree that, no, they don't want to quit the stage yet. Yes. Now, they seem to have a common ground at that point. How easy or difficult is it going to be for this movement, the third force, yes, to get them out of the stage? Is that what the third force is about?
That's not our primary duty.
What is your primary duty?
Well, basically, we're going to enlighten Nigerians to the third option. And that option is basically to look at the two sides that we have, the two forces, and the APC and the PDP. And then you can see from your last the gentlemen who were here before that there's an ongoing dialectic here of how to do it best. Is it the PDP way or is it the APC way? And we can see that that's causing a lot of rift in society. And so the third option is to say, okay, look, we want to have all shades of opinion. We want to elevate the discussion. We want to see a Nigeria that is moving forward. We want to see a country that is, you know, being run on the basis of rule of law, and so that name becomes that project that wants to bring Nigerians of educated background.
The question that a lot of people have in their minds now is this: is this group or the third option a third political option?
No, it's not. Not at the moment.
So how is it an option?
Well, the option is that we still have time to progress all of this arrangement.
Is it going to metamorphose into a political
group? If there's
group?
a need to, but our first and foremost objective is to educate Nigerians, including the PDP and APC, to understand that there is another way to process this country. It doesn't have to boil down to violence and killing of people. It has to be an educated way of doing things, civilized ways. Nigeria has come to that point right now.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry, pardon me. If you're educating them and the education doesn't give them that third political option, would you have achieved anything?
Well, then that's other portion of the arrangement which says that as we try to educate them and they're not listening, then of course we will progress the matter to the hands of the people. Because as the other gentleman clearly stated in the Constitution, the power belongs to the people.
Okay. You know, when Mr. President talked about processes not restructuring, is the needed impetus to get us on the path of development again.
Yes.
And you hear statements like institutions and their decay is the bane of development in this country. What would you say to people who are of the view that we don't necessarily need to have a third force, but instead strengthen our institutions and getting them to work?
I think it's all part of the nuance, if you want to speak, say that yes, the institutions need to work, definitely. But in a scenario of where we are today and the way that the public perception of the present government and also the perception of the previous government, which has only been out of power for 3 years, so I don't know that they quickly want to come back and that Nigerians are ready for PDP government. Okay, but the third force is educative. It's intellectualism. We're trying to open up discussion as to ways and means to move our country forward, regardless of who you are and where you come from.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yeah, but when you talk about looking at ways to move the country forward, what do you have to say about the makeup of the third force? Because there are those who are concerned about the antecedents of those that make up this force.
Yes.
Some have asked the questions, I mean, what did he do or what did she do when she was in power? Because some of them have been in power.
That's correct.
Some of them at different levels, not necessarily public office, some in private office, and they've been now concerned about what has been their antecedents. Is that not a concern to you?
Well, it is, definitely.
So how would that
the name
play out?
itself is just a conglomerate of various shades of opinion. We have politicians, ex-politicians, we have medical doctors, we have a cross-section of the elite intellectual Nigeria who are coming together to put their heads together to formulate a whole new process. The idea being that we want to join the civilized community. We want to now have a situation where there's ongoing imbroglio at all times. Nigeria has been at war with itself, unending. And then we have children who were educated by the same parents who are leading Nigeria to some of the best universities in this world. Where do they begin to practice their trade? How can they take over and begin to bring this type of a civilized idea?